Hello everyone. Welcome to the unnamed podcast or show, whatever this series is. This is your host Hussein Johari, and joining me today is Murtaza.
Hello.
Motaga? Just before we get into all the details, can you just speak about yourself, your company, what do you guys do?
So, to begin with, I'm Murtaza Hossaini, aka Murtaza Motagar as well. I'm the managing partner at Fitris Media and Fitris Management. What we do? So, basically, we're part of a group of companies, there are two companies. Fitris Media mainly focuses on e-commerce. We are the back office support for Amazon and Noon in UAE and globally as well. From product photography to content to product uploads to account management, we take care of all of that. In terms of Fitris Management, we are a complete back office support in terms of finance, managing businesses, and as well as all legal support. So, audit, accounts, SOPs, anything which is related to back office, which something has to be done for the company, we take care of all of that. Consulting, basically, in simple words.
This is a question I asked last week's guests as well, and I want to ask you. I actually don't know about your family business background. So, was this a family business of yours, and did you join it, or did you start a separate entity? If so, why didn't you want to join your father or your uncle or whoever the family business is?
So, this is a separate entity. The first entity was Fitris Media. I'll just give a backstory of how Fitris Media actually came
Right.
up. So this was during COVID, and during COVID, right, August 2020, somewhere around that time, businesses were getting back into action, they were up from lockdowns and everything. And one thing what I realized during the lockdown period was that when everything was closed, online sales was still happening. Like people were still able to order from Amazon, people were still able to order from Noon. And at that time, so I have a different entity for my hardware business as well, right? And at that time, I was trying to upload some products over there to understand. Let's get started on these platforms. Let's see what is the response. And one thing I found was that it was very difficult to get products uploaded in that sense. Not in sense of that the UI or the complexity, but the whole process. As a layman who is not coming, someone who's not coming from that kind of a background, who can understand, who is not so techy, it's a difficult process for them to get the products uploaded, these barcodes, whatsoever, SKU numbers and everything. Although for some people, especially for the viewers, it might seem a simple concept. For the boomers, let's keep it that way. It's not that simple.
Right.
So that was something I thought that this is something which we can capitalize on. Let's understand. Let's explore this market. So I started with a trial run with my uncle's business on this to understand how we can get the products uploaded, to understand the complete journey, and that is what converted into Fitris Media.
Okay, because I had a different understanding of where you were, because for everyone who doesn't know, Murtaza is my friend as well, and I joined my family business around the same time, August 2020.
Yeah.
And I had called him for a consultation for a website.
Yeah.
He sat down with my dad, we had a conversation, and it didn't work out for whatever reason. At that time, maybe we weren't looking for a website, or we took some time to develop it. So I thought that you were in the digital media space and then you pivoted into e-commerce.
So
is that true?
That is true. That is true. So when I started this Fitris Media, this whole concept was very new, in that sense that providing a service for Amazon and Noon was something which was, who does that, right? So I needed a space, I needed some kind of support system through which I could link this.
Okay.
Right? Okay, I can do your website for you, but have you tried out this option? Right?
Like your mentality is you're going to set up an e-commerce store for me, but have you looked into diversifying your sales channels?
Yes. Something of that sort, but it was more of a selling tactic as well.
Upselling
tactic.
Right.
So that is how it. When I started, there was not a single direction in CC. It was just trial and error to find out that okay, this journey is working. This path is working. Let's capitalize on it.
In your opinion, how important is it for a business to keep pivoting?
See, in terms of pivoting, it's important that you're going in the right direction. So, when Fitness Media started in August 2020, right? By April 2021, April 2021, we realized, and I came up with the vision that it is important to create an ecosystem.
Okay.
Right? It's not about you have a product or you have a service and you just have to sell it. Right? You have to engage the audience as well. You have to engage your customers, your clients, in a way that yes, they are there. That is, every customer has a journey. They have a lifetime journey, right? They're here till this point. And after that, you have to provide them something else so that you go on to the next life cycle, right? At that time, I realized that an ecosystem is important. And that is when we started Fitness Management as well. To bring in a complete office support. Everything your business needs, we are here to support you. You focus on your products and services and you try to take care of that, which is your sales and purchases or just your sales depending on what industry you come from, right? So what over the few years what I've realized is that a business should not only focus on their products and services, that is important, but with that also on an ecosystem, on how are you capturing your audience, how are you capturing your clients, what are you doing to bring them on board and to keep them on board. Keeping is the most difficult one. It is not just bringing them.
Yeah.
You bring them, you provide them a service. The service is done, what do you do now? Right?
Right.
How do you keep them is very important.
Okay. So in this industry, what's like, how have you kept your customers so far? Is what I want to know. Like, what's been the sales journey for a standard customer? They come to you for what service, and then how do you engage them?
Okay, so I have basically two kinds of customers. So as you all know, Amazon over here is pretty, it's in a way that even individual sellers can sell and businesses can sell, right? So there are two kind of customer journeys I'm having right now. One is the individual journey. The customer comes in, we have a discussion on how we want to move forward in terms of product photography, we do the content, we get the products uploaded, and the relationship ends there until he gets a new shipment in.
Right.
Because then there is a different line of products which have to be uploaded. In terms of businesses, when businesses come in, the first part is still the same, right? So for some businesses, I have monthly contracts with them because we're managing their complete accounts and taking care of all of that. And there's some businesses where it is on a service base, that they have come to me, they have a shipment in, we upload the products, done. But at that time when it's a business, I have an opportunity to upsell them. That fact, you're selling on Amazon, you're selling on Note, you have your in-store sales also happening. Would you like any finance support in it? In terms of accounting, in terms of taxation, and keeping in mind that by next year we have income tax coming in, audit will become a necessity. So with all of that in place, your foundation has to be strong again, right? So that everything can take place at the right time. So this gives you an opportunity to upsell.
Right, makes sense. I still want to know why did you join your family business? Like, was there a reason?
No, so
And what is your family business exactly? I'm just
so
curious.
in terms of family business, my dad was a partner in another consulting firm.
Oh, okay.
So when I started Fitness Management Consultants, he joined me there. So that was my layback basically. That I had an opportunity of joining that firm, but instead
Okay.
I took it away.
I just thought you had a family business which you didn't want to get into. Another question I have for you is, like, you said that you came up with this idea and you pitched to your uncle for the idea, right? Do you have any, so if for anyone watching who has an idea and they want to pitch it to their family business, do you have any tips for them? Like, how should they do it? How did you do it?
Okay.
And how is the character, like, how are the people in your family and how did you manage all those expectations? Because it's tough to approach your family for this.
See, I was lucky in this sense because when I came up with this whole Amazon and Noon thing, my uncle was very supportive in that sense. He's like, do and trial and error with me. Right?
Okay.
It's all about trial and error. You need a platform where you can try. it's not necessary you kick off on the first time, right? You will face hurdles in between, right? But you need to find out a way how you can overcome them and get it done. In terms of pitching this idea to them, in that sense, I didn't create a pitch deck or something that, oh, I need to get this done. But in that sense, I just spoke to them like, see, this is there, let's give it a try. He said, okay, go ahead. But what I have understood over the years, because I'm working with my father as well and everything, what I've understood is when you're talking to someone of that generation or someone who is coming from that experience, it is important you understand their mindset first. Right? It's, for example, I come to you and I have something. I know I can be chill with you and I can discuss it. Right?
Very casual.
Very casual. When you're discussing something with that generation or someone of that generation, it is important you go in a, it's much more towards how you want to get it done rather than just doing like, hey, we want to get this. It's less casual. And one small thing what I've understood till now is that for them it is not, rather than having something tech savvy, you give them a paper, it's much easier for them to understand. It's a very small thing. Someone might think that it does not make sense, but if you, I've spoken about this to a lot of my other friends as well, and they've told me that one common thing they understand is when you're either going to speak to your dad about something and something, they prefer having a printout in front of them, right? Rather than having it on a screen, because it's much more, it's easier in that sense. It's tangible. It's tangible. Right. It's tangible. These are small factors, but coming back to the point, I think it's more important when you are expressing the idea to them, or if you're coming up with an idea and if you're going to discuss with them, you have it planned out and you go with their mindset that, okay, what are the possible things they could ask me that I haven't answered to? That makes your life much easier.
I've definitely noticed that the older generation tend to be more cynical, just because they've lived life enough where they come up with random ideas and they just immediately like to shut it down. So that's very nice that your family were very opening and welcoming to this. That's awesome. Yeah, like you also mentioned before that you do Amazon and Noon. So like when I browse TikTok and stuff, I've noticed a lot of people are doing dropshipping as a side hustle, as a side business. Like, what's your take on dropshipping in 2022? Like, what is dropshipping? And is it a viable solution as a side hustle for many people who are trying to get going financially, career? Like, just want to know.
So what I have understood in this business over the few years is that the dropshipping model is basically you buy the products from a few places. From a place, maybe China or whatever.
It's usually Alibaba.
Alibaba, yeah. You buy it from Alibaba and then you ship it directly to the warehouse, and then if you're doing FBA, Amazon take care of it, right? You're just there managing the backend. What I have understood in terms of side hustle is that it depends on what region you're doing.
Okay.
Right? For example, like you mentioned those TikTok videos and everything. The majority of these videos which I created are from the Western side, right? It's either from the US, from the UK, from the Europe, where they're telling you that, okay, I can make $35,000 a month or 100,000 pounds or whatsoever, right? The Amazon market over there, the customer base is huge. Please look at the population of those countries, right? Yeah. In UAE, the population is 9 million, right? Out of that, what is the percentage who is using Amazon? Right. Let's assume it's another 3 million, 4 million, whatever. From that, what is the percentage who is using it daily? Right?
Even less.
And then, all of that percentage, what is the percentage which are buying that category of products? Right? So if you factor it out and you come down to that figure, it's a very small population in comparison to what you're looking over there.
Yeah, the US market is 330 million.
Exactly.
For example, 300 million people.
And it's a good population who are active users over there. The lifestyle has become as such that people prefer purchasing online rather than going to stores.
But I would argue that's also growing here, right? Like many people are just buying online.
That is true. It's 100%. But that over here, the problem I have is of the mentality. that people come up, because I've had this discussion with a few people who come up as clients that listen, I've seen this video, it says that I can make 30,000 dirhams or $30,000. Understand the dynamics, the geographics, that there's a population thing which is happening, that whether the market is huge, the market is very small over here. Right. So in that sense, what people have to understand is, I'm not saying that it is not a good side hustle. It's an excellent side hustle.
Right.
Because if you come up to it, you can make a decent amount, but not as decent as you can remove your primary income and get solely focused on this, considering if you're not giving 100% attention to it. If you're just thinking that, okay, I'll bring some products here, put it over here, all good to go.
Yeah.
Life is not so simple. If that was so simple, everyone would have been doing it.
The other challenge I saw online is that what people fail to emphasize is the actual product, like choosing the product.
Exactly. You have to do, there's a whole cycle, there's a whole journey to identifying, okay, this product will work. Do your background research, see what is uploaded online, what is your cost which is occurring, the commissions which these platforms take. Do you have enough margin to sell it? Again, take into account the returns which come in.
Right.
Because, again, it's not like you've given it to a customer. There's always a return policy, and Amazon has a very flexible return policy that you send it back whatsoever.
Right.
These are all a cost, and these are costs which will occur. So at the end of the day, when you sit, let's say quarterly or half yearly, or even at the end of the year, when you open your accounts and sit on your P&L,
Right.
it's important to understand, all my efforts, have they paid off, or have I ended up paying something from my pocket as well?
Speaking of side hustle also, I know that you and our other common friend Aziz are doing a side hustle, right? What is the store called? Hodo
store.
And what do you sell on Hodo?
So the concept we came up with Hodo was basically anything and everything which is unique and which is required in a household. So for example, a very simple thing. You know, when you're browsing through those TikTok videos or reels and you see those random videos, oh, there's something of this is also possible. Maybe something which is related to a toothpaste or something which is related to kitchen accessories or whatsoever.
Those videos are very annoying. I really want to buy it, but I know it's not worth it. Like sometimes it's just not worth it, but it looks very satisfying to own.
Yeah. So basically, with that concept, we started Hodo. So we import as well as we purchase products which are in that sense, which are unique, which are something beneficial, which makes your life simpler. That is our motto, making your life simpler. And we work according to that, and we bring in products.
Is the name Hodo Game of Thrones inspired by any chance?
the name Hodo is inspired with home and development. So it sounded pleasing, Hodo.
Yeah.
So that is
it's catchy for sure.
We came up with Hodo.
Like that's another question I just wanted to move into, is that for someone who's so busy, how do you manage a side hustle with your main job? Like, do you have any tips or like suggestions on how you can start a side hustle?
So I'll just go through how my daily day goes on in terms of my task. So once I wake up and once I reach office, I usually reach office somewhere between 8:45, 9ish. And the first thing I do is I create a list of tasks which I have to do for today, which are important to me. It might be client, setting up a meeting, sending proposals, get this XYZ work done for the client, whatsoever. Once I have created that list, I know, okay, I have a timeline that, okay, I need to finish this by XYZ time, because then after that I have to go somewhere.
Okay.
And it is all on how you manage time to create time for something else which is important to you.
So is the key that it has to be important to you?
Because see, if it's a side hustle, it's revenue generating, right?
Right.
And if it's revenue generating, you have to create time to get revenue out of it.
Money is important.
Money is important, of course. That is how you started it. So my basic fundamental is that time management is the most important key. You get your time sorted, you'll get rest of the things sorted for sure.
How long did it take for you to set up that time thing?
So I used to follow this schedule back in my university days, because I used to have 6 courses a semester, and the one common mistake which I'm assuming I'm not the only dumb person who has done this, is that I took all my 100 and 200 level courses and I kept all my 300 and 400 level courses at the end. So I didn't have a balance out between them. So keeping that in mind, time management was a key.
In that case, everyone is stupid. Wait, where did you study?
Harvard International Business School, London.
London, okay. Is that where you did kind of online digital course or something?
No. So I basically studied entrepreneurship in the sense that understood the startup culture, understood startup financing, all of that aspects, product development, product research. So not completely towards the digital side, but towards a business life cycle. How does the early stages come up, and what are the stages which we have to look into? That was my main focus.
Okay.
So in that sense, what I've understood and what I have made a motto out of my life is that it's not necessary, like we were having this conversation offline also, that we might end up changing careers again. Right?
Right.
It's not necessary that we stick to something for life. But the important factor is the business life cycle never changes. The way of doing business never changes. You change your product or service. Right? But once you understand how to get your business started, you know the stages, how to tackle this XYZ thing, it becomes much simpler.
But what do you mean by the way of doing business hasn't changed?
No,
Because I think the way of people doing business has changed a lot.
No, in that sense, 100%, where people have gone from the brick and mortar stores to online to again brick and mortar, those factors are there. But in terms of way of doing business, you know at what part what has to be done. Right? In basically, you understand supply chain logistics. You understand how to deal with a client. You understand the financing part of it. These are factors which as a newbie when I came in, when I started my first business, it was like, okay, it took me time to understand all of this. Right? Once you know this, you know it's, again, no businesses are cookie cutter models that this has worked for this will work for this. But it's good to have an understanding behind it.
Yeah. Agreed, yeah. That makes sense. But yeah, I think this is reaching the 15-20 minute mark. So I don't want to drag this out too long. I don't want to bore people. But like, there is this podcast I listen to in the UK. I don't know. Have you heard of True Jordy?
No.
I don't want to be copying him, but I really like the thing he does at the end of the podcast, where he asks the guest this question, and like I really like the question. So I want to ask you to, like, what he does. Basically, the question is, how would you like to be remembered?
Okay.
Like I just like the question a lot. So I just want to know, like, how would you like to be remembered?
I think if this is a difficult one, but one thing I want to leave a mark. Leave a mark in the sense, see, the growing a business and everything is all secondary. Leaving a mark in the sense that you have provided, even in terms of business and even as a person, you have provided a product or you have provided a service which has made that person remember you. For example, it's a very classic example, especially in our kind of households, that they don't say toothpaste, they call it Colgate.
Colgate, yeah.
Right? Also that's a brand, right? But it has become a necessity, right? It has become a part of your life. I want to become part of that cycle, the part of life. That is how I want to,
That's awesome.
That's
Anyway, thank you so much for letting me have you on this, on the most successful show on in the
The unnamed conversation.
Yeah, the unnamed conversation. But yeah, thank you for listening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode. This will get better with time, I hope. You know the usual.
It's a new journey.
Yeah, the usual lame YouTube stuff, like, comment,
Share,
subscribe, all that stuff. But yeah, thanks so much, bro.
Thank you.
And Barbican, please sponsor me.
Please do. No.